UTRGV. This is Andy Garcia. I am your host at the 60-Minute Mentor here. I got a special guest with us this morning, Mr. Efrain Duran. He's the owner of STX Printing. He directs the ministries cross church with over 450 volunteers, 15 teams. He's a sovereign business alliance coach, helping businesses win with their employees. Good morning, Mr. Duran.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So the reason I have you here, first of all, welcome to UTRGV. Welcome to the show. Thank you for accepting to join us here. Today we want to talk about attitude and what that means to the young youth, the young adults like us. So if you could just break it down for us, and feel free to tell people a little bit more of what you do.
First of all, thank you for the invite. And I think the undertone for me, the reason that I wanted to even come out here is because I have two sons, and I think it's important for them to realize that it's the right attitude would cause them to win, and the wrong attitude would cause them to lose. And I remember I had an uncle of mine tell me, he says, "Boy, if you don't change your attitude, you're not going to make it in life." And if you tell me that, hey, Efrain, you got to clean your room, I actually know what it looks like. I'm very observant, so I have to see something so it registers in my mind better. So I need to know what it looks like. Because if I don't know what it looks like, it's hard for me to reiterate it to anybody, to tell the story about it. So for me, I had a hard time understanding what attitude meant until I found a good definition that allowed me to see it for what it was. Visually. And attitude is a habitual pattern of thinking. Attitude is a habitual pattern of thinking. Your attitude is made up of habits. Some good, some bad, and a few ugly ones. So once you kind of make that assessment and see where you're at, then you got to start making these adjustments. And for a lot of people it's hard because they don't know. It's kind of like a mirror. When you see in the mirror, you know that you got to comb your hair, you got to do this. Same thing with attitude. When you see the habits, these habits cause you to win and lead you to what your dream is. Mm-hmm. These habits, they're stealing and doing this. These habits, they're going to cause you to lose.
Mm-hmm. So for a lot of us here at UTRGV, we already got an idea of what we want to do. A little bit of self-awareness, right? So how does somebody go from, okay, I know I want to win, I know I want to be successful, I know I want to be someone in life, but how do I assess myself to see if my attitude is a winning attitude? How do I, someone listening out there right now is like, okay, how do I know how do I put my attitude on the right track? How do I do that?
Well, let's just talk about professions. You have students here that want to be doctors, or they want to be a nurse, they want to be an engineer, they want to be, whatever their passion is. They might be doing their basics here and they're going to take off to a university to finish up, but whatever their passion is, I've understood as a business owner and is even working with companies that their skill set might get them into the door, but it's their attitude that keeps them inside working with that company. It's like, man, bro, you're probably one of the most talented individuals I've met, but your attitude stinks. And they let them go. Like, what? Because they're so focused on their skill set. So you asked me a question right now. You asked, so how does somebody know that they're on the right track? Well, the skill set that they're doing, they're coming to school to learn, that's one part of it. The attitude is how they're passionate about this and how they work. Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. One more time. People don't know and how much you care. You got a double PhD in physics and they don't care how smart you are until they realize how much you care about them. So you got this one person who's getting ready to graduate, he's going to take a management position, and he's got that skill set to put it in, but he ain't got the attitude to work with staff. He ain't got no social skills, He's forcing it because he doesn't have that finesse. I'm telling you, I work with large groups of people that it's all about the attitude. They gotta know that you're there for them.
And I feel like a lot of us don't do it intentionally. You know what I mean? We don't do things from a bad place. I just feel like it's just the lack of maybe mentors or maybe a little bit of content that we read or stuff like that. So, what do you think is some like starting steps for?
I think for they got to realize they got to understand their past, because so my father was the best father he could be on what he learned from his dad. Okay, so I am learning to be the best dad I can to my children by what I've learned from my dad, but that might not be enough. So I'm having to go out there, read some books. I'm having to go out there to engage in conversations with other men that I think are good fathers, so that I can learn some good habits.
Surrounding yourself with good people.
Yeah.
Surrounding yourself with good groups of people.
But how do you know if that group is good? Because I know some really rich people that they're failing as fathers with their kids because they're so focused on their job that they're losing at home. So my thing is society. It's just one or the other, and we got to fight for a balanced life. Your spiritual life, your personal walk with everything.
And it all starts with attitude.
Yeah. People have already made it say, I'm not going to do that. They're not going to give in to that. Why? There's a fear of the unknown, and
I'm a big believer in energy.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of funny, and you might poke fun of it a little bit and stuff, but I feel like when you wake up and you put good intentions in the air, and a lot of us like to write things down, a lot of like note cards down, stuff on the mirror, stuff in our car, listening to stuff. I feel like putting good things in the air and saying it and believing it, waking up to that, it matters. It matters to what your mentality is going to be that day, to what you're going to feel, to what you're going to think. And I feel like, yes, we could study hard. A lot of people are studying their butts off right now. They're studying, making sure they got that 4.0, making sure they're grinding, but please explain to them how important it is not to forget about attitude, which is what our topic that we're talking about today. It's important to, yes, knock out the books, but it's important to also align yourself with the proper people, the proper mentality, the proper sort of structure to where you're trying to get.
Yeah.
Correct, Mr. Duran?
Yeah, but I think another thing is restraint. I think people fail because they can't restrain themselves. Hey man, if that's the way you feel, you tell her how you feel, or you tell them how you feel. And that's not always the case. Just because you have the right to say something or do something doesn't always give you the right to say it or do it. I'm a big believer if, bite your tongue, and it molds you. Those emotions that are in there that are ready to just come out because you want to tell them how you feel, there's always a right time, and that might not be the right time. So you have this one person that's getting ready to graduate as a nurse. She got a 4.0. She got a 4.0, or he got a 4.0 at the cost of what? Disrespecting her parents. I told you I'm studying, and this anger issues come out. She's focused. She's getting this 4.0 at the cost of what? At the cost of what? Relationships that are broken up. She's winning at school, but she's losing at home.
So you lead a team of 400, almost 450 volunteers here. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've seen? You're leading 500 people. What are some patterns that you see in them as far as attitude, and how can you?
Well, they're real. They're not all happy-go-lucky. There's some real issues. As a nurse, she's only thinking about doing. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to make $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 a year, and she doesn't know that there's this responsibility of a life behind that work that she's doing. If she's cutting corners, or if he's cutting corners in his work, all that, it comes back. Teachers said, Efrain, you're going to go ahead and remember what I told you is it's better to pay right now, but you're going to pay. Either you pay now or you pay later, but you're going to pay. And I'm like thinking about it. Okay, And now I'm having to read books more to understand these principles that I could have understood them earlier. And that's why I really think that these kids, these students, these young adults are missing it because they're so focused on the goal that they're stepping on and their attitude is making a wave. Yeah, they got their diploma, but nobody wants to hire them because people would rather hire you for attitude than your skill. I'd rather hire you for attitude and train you for your skill. While everybody's saying, hey, I got the skill set, man, I want 50,000, I want, and they're like, whoa, you got the wrong attitude. It is attitude that makes your skill set, man, just bloom.
We're back here with Mr. Duran, and man, we left on some powerful point there. Just want to get back to it. We were talking about attitude as far as the professional life aspect, which I think is most important to everybody listening right now here at UTRGV. How does your attitude reflect off your professional life as far as, going into interviews and trying to get a job and trying to get your career started once you get that degree here?
Well, I mean, attitude's everything. I know business owners, man, that they changed their whole thing. I mean, they were all focused on the person's look, on the person's capacity. Man, this guy, we're gonna win with this guy. But he came in with an attitude that tainted the atmosphere. Somebody's attitude can change an environment to gloomy or to a sunshine, And I'm a big believer of that. Now you were talking about energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does somebody maintain energy? And for me, like I said, I'm very observant. So I see like a tank of gas. You get up in the morning, some people read the Bible, some people meditate, whatever it is that you need to do. Plan. If you fail to plan, you will plan to fail. But it's not a cliche. There's some truth behind it. You gather your thoughts and you're not racing. You get a little organized. The more organized you are, the more time you buy back. The least you're organized, you're all disorganized, you lose time.
Mm-hmm.
You lose time. So let's just say you're an organized person, you're putting everything together on your plan, and you go at it. You start off with a full tank of gas, and all of a sudden you have a little altercation, something happened on the way to work, and it goes down a little bit, now you're at 3/4 tank, you haven't even got to lunchtime yet, and and then you find out that you ain't got no money, another bill came in, and you ain't got money for lunch, and you're a little bit more upset, and it drains you. But if you don't know how to monitor that, by the time at the end of the day comes, you're already frustrated because your energy level's on empty.
We were talking about something before we went off break that I thought was huge. Please tell us the importance as far as, when big companies and managers and bosses going through interview process and they're skimming through a sea of applications and, 200, 300 applications, and they start narrowing it down to who they want to fill that position. And you mentioned how companies have switched over from simply just looking at your talent, your skill, your 4.0, and now they're really starting to dig a little bit deeper as far as another layer of checking to see if this person is genuine, checking to see about their attitude and how that could maybe break it or make it when you're trying to go out there for a job, right?
That's right. Especially in sales. I'm in sales, so I mean, I have to have a good story. I got to tell a good story. I have to be a storyteller, because that's what marketing is. Marketing is storytelling. How I'm going to tell this story for this client with a billboard or a radio ad, a TV ad, whatever. You need to know how to tell a story. So most people, they're in a position right now where they can't tell their own story. There ain't no love that resides in their soul. You can't love and be passionate for other people or a product you're trying to sell or the hospital you work for if you ain't passionate and loving yourself. Mm-hmm. Oh, that kind of sounds kind of sissy, but it's not. The thing is that this idea of loving yourself clashes with our culture. Mm-hmm. our Hispanic culture in this area, because, you know, real men don't cry, or real men don't have feelings. And that's far from the truth. You know, real men, they understand that. They're sensitive. That's why they have a balanced home. They're loving on their kids. They're loving on their wife. They're being loyal to their wives. You know, but when somebody doesn't understand those things, they're not fighting for that, to protect that in their home. Their love is at the business, you know. So going back to your question, I just think people need to learn that first. They need to learn to love themselves so that they can take that and they work with that spirit of excellence at the hospital, or at the bank, or at this engineer company, or whatever. And people, it doesn't take long for people to pick up on it. There's something about this guy I like. There's something about this girl that I really like. And they find out its attitude. You know, she might not know, or he might not know everything about how we run here, but she'll learn it. I want to work with it. I've seen it. I've heard it time and time again, that this new generation is coming. It's almost like they demand it. You know, I did 4 years, 6+ years at college. I deserve this. You know, where did that come from? Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not saying that they needed this habit of working out in the fields or something, or working on their dad's ranch, or no, I'm just saying that there is something lost in regards to working for it, understanding people, caring for people. You know, everybody's they've gotten like isolated.
I do feel you make a great point there. They call you know, my generation here, it's almost like a microwave generation, where we want everything fast. We want everything quickly, you know, and you know, there's a lot of things that we could point at and say, you know, whether it's social media, we got these ads, we got people selling shortcuts out on social media. Join my program, you know, and I'll show you the way to get to the top. And I feel like people have fallen in love with the easy way, you know, which has always been the case. Yeah. I mean, it's not just our generation. This has been the case for forever. So people fall in love with the idea of the making it quick out of graduate, get your degree, and man, we're trying to be rich and successful before we hit 25, 30 years old, you know. So maybe slowing down a little bit and focusing on our attitude and how could that we should just pay as much attention as we do to school to that, you know.
Yep. I think that the biggest challenge right now is that this isolation. Right now, people, they're loners. You know, you see some of the kids, they're not, because they were hurt in school, they were hurt in a relationship, however, even from their family, that I feel that they need to, they've been isolated too long. You know, they're independent. And sometimes the experience they're looking for resides in the fibers of somebody's fellowship. Listen to what I just said. What if I have an experience that would cause you to win, Andy? Okay. What if I have an experience that I went through in a previous job, or even in my life, that would cause you to win? But you'll never know about this experience because we never talk.
Never engage.
We never engage. And that's a problem. A lot of people, they think that they're going to do it on their own, and I don't need this person in my life. No, this smart person, I don't need to talk to my dad or my mom. I'm going to do it on my own. And the journey's a little tougher.
That is, I can say since my time here at UTRGV, that is one of the biggest things that I've learned, probably hands down. The number one thing that I've learned as a student here is you need to reach out to people who are already doing what you want to do. So there's a huge chance that whatever profession, whatever career you're choosing to go into, chances are there's hundreds, if not thousands, maybe even millions of people already doing that exact thing. So one thing that was told to me is, you know, reach out to them, ask them questions. How did they do it? How did they get there? What are some books they recommend? What are some podcasts? What are some shows? What are some mentors, conventions, meetings, events, you know, and this goes all back. This goes back all to you know, reaching out to people and trying to reach out to them as far as like, hey, for some help. You know, as guidance. You got people who are 50, 60 years old, and they got a mind full of experiences and knowledge, just waiting for somebody to ask them about. And these people, you reach out to them, ask them, they're loving to help. You know, they love to help, and they love to provide some of that wisdom that they got going on. So, you know, as far as students here at UTRGV, talk about how easy it would be to reach out to someone like you for maybe some, like they're listening right now, for some attitude. We're talking about how we can improve our attitude, and they reach out to a mentor. How can you break down the misconception of like?
Well, let's just look at attitude from this perspective. That attitude is made up of all these habits, some good, some bad, and some ugly, and a big old list, right? From the time you get up, you got some good habits, you got some bad habits. So let's just say that you get up at 5 in the morning, you get up and you meditate, you pray, whatever you do to get started. You plan your day, you read a book, and then you go, you have breakfast, or you go to the gym. You know, you have this routine, this practice. You know, this is what habits are, right? And then you go to work, and then you go to lunch, and then you go back to work, and then you go, or somebody might be going to school, and they go. So whatever it is, at the end of the day, let's just say that each habit had a value, right? Mm. And to win, you need like 777 points to win, right? Mm-hmm. So okay, well, I helped this lady, you know, I cut her yard today, and I did this, and so you tally up all these habits. Well, I actually stole some money from my dad, and I cheated on my test. So, and then these things they take away, mm-hmm. you know. So all of a sudden you got to see yourself there so now it's a module. So you can't really get rid of a habit. You need to replace it with another habit. Mm-hmm. So from this time to this time, instead of going to, waking up late, because I would sleep till like 7:30, and I'm always rushing. I'm not going to do that no more. I'm going to replace that. I'm going to be getting up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm going to go to the gym at 6, come back 7. So I just want my mind to be more focused and alert, you know. And then I'm not going to be eating cereals right now. I'm just going to eat a nice healthy breakfast. I'm going to eat some oatmeal. And you kind of go through it. So these changes, they have an impact. And all of a sudden you do it for long enough, they become habits. Mm. You know, you go into the gym, I tried it, man, it was real hard. My body aches and stuff. And all of a sudden, but you did it long enough, and then these actions, they become habits. So they start having an effect on you, positively or negatively. So if somebody's having a hard time passing a class, well, it's because you've been hanging out, you've been drinking it with the guys, you've been drinking it with the girls, you've been doing this, doing that. Now, don't do that. Now I'm going to stay up studying. So now, you made some changes. These changes are habit changes, and now you're winning. Well, you know what? I was talking to my dad and my mom real ugly, and I kind of felt bad, but I didn't want to say nothing because in my mind they deserved it or whatever. And all of a sudden, I'm taking a different route. I'm going to try to be nice with them, and all of a sudden you experience a different reaction from them, and it's a lot more peaceful at home when you go home.
I've been reading more. It's become more and more popular, nowadays, as far as being nice to people. You know what I mean? Like how important it is just to be nice, like in general. It's not a front you put on, or like a fake smile. None of that. It's just like just being nice to people. Everybody you walk around, you don't have to greet every single person. Everybody's trying to go to class, people got things to do, listening to music, eating, trying to get their coffee in. But it really doesn't take much just to be nice to people, and that reflects a person's attitude. And it's like what it takes, I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, it takes just as much energy to be happy than just as much energy as to be in a bad mood and stuff.
Well, I think it takes more energy. It just robs you more of energy because it's inside of you. It's like unforgiveness. Do you think that unforgiveness is bothering the other person? Or does the unforgiveness have more, and it hurts you, the person that's feeling that way? Mm-hmm. Well, it hurts that person. Yeah. And forgive. When you start to forgive, and how do you know that you're forgiving somebody? When you can learn to separate the emotion from the memory, when you can think about what happened and it doesn't cause an emotion to rise up. And if you're not there, then it's a journey. Sometimes you can't just, okay, I forgive you and it goes away. It's a journey. It's a process, especially when there's betrayal. You know? So all these things add to somebody's attitude. No, I'm not going to forgive that person. Man, that person hurt me. Not knowing that they're the ones losing. They're the ones that their attitude's a little tainted because of unforgiveness.
We have to be careful where, like you said earlier, it's a energy, it's like a tank of gas, right? So you're gonna spend that whether you do it on good energy or bad energy, right? So what I've put into practice, I guess you could say, is no one's gonna rob me of my energy. You know, no one's gonna take the energy I have, because it's limited. You know, you don't have an unlimited amount of energy. You know, it's limited. We get tired, we have to sleep, it drains us, we get stressed. You know, we're humans, we're not machines. Our energy is limited. So the moment you wake up in the morning, you have a tank full, hopefully, you know, have a tank full of energy. And then as you go about your day, mad that it's hot, or mad that it's, the sun, or man, it's raining, or I'm this, or just complaining, and you're building bad energy and in your face, and I can't find a parking spot, and like you get to class, I forgot my AirPods, and it's just draining energy. So you're not leaving any energy for the good stuff, you know, for the good opportunities and for the people that deserve your good energy, your smile, and it's almost like you're draining yourself of the potential that you could have had a good day.
Yeah, and the thing is that things happen. We have life's realities that happen. But the wisdom behind somebody's good attitude is they still don't lose in a situation that would cause most people to lose. For instance, on the way up here, my AC on my vehicle starts giving out. Okay, well, I don't let it bother me. You know, in my mind, I've already thought about how I'm going to deal with it. Okay, but for me to ponder on that, man, I'm going to an interview. You know, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be all, you know, no, I didn't let it bother me. So there's things that you can control, and there's some things that you cannot control.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe channel so that you stay up to date with all the latest episodes. Also, can you please give this video a like if you learned anything at all from the episode you just saw? Thank you guys. See y'all next time.